Hello dear teachers, welcome back to the next episode of The Better Teacher. And like I said, this is an episode that is going to be a continuation of the previous topic that we dealt with. We are of course in conversation with Balasa. The topic that we discussed in the previous episode was teachers in the classroom in the context of verbal communication. And in this particular episode, we will be talking about teachers in the classroom in the context of non-verbal communication, which means we are going to be dealing with body language as a most important topic in this episode. So let me fire away the first question to you directly. When teachers go through teachers college, are they actually taught about non-verbal communication and body language?
Well, I would not say no, but the percentage of stress on that should be less than 5%. Okay, so probably the focus in the colleges of education is more on the philosophical foundations, on the psychological foundations, the history of learning, and also probably something on the educational technology and recent other developments that's coming through. But on verbal and non-verbal communication, there is passing references like a passing cloud, but I don't think the thrust that must be given is being given. Therefore, I think it's very important for the schools to empower their teachers both on verbal and non-verbal communication, because both are complementary to each other. As a matter of fact, research very clearly says that in any communication, 57% is the dominance of body language, and the rest comes from the tonality, and the real meaning and other things forms only 7%. That being so, the physical proposition of the way you talk is more important. How the message is communicated, right, in the classroom is more important. So body language of teachers in the class is a very vital subject, because that has got a significant impact how the children learn, and also the outcome of the learning behavior of the children is impacted by the body language.
Okay. So does the body language of a teacher in a classroom have an impact on the learning behavior of the students in the classroom?
Very much. As a matter of fact, from the moment the teacher enters the class, because a teacher, when she or he enters the classroom, it is not simply walking. It indicates the amount of energy that they bring into the classroom. I remember the days when my principal in 70s used to tell me when I was a teacher, he said a classroom is nothing but an energy management system, right? How the teacher handles the energy of the children is very important. And therefore, if you are to manage the energy of 35 to 40 children, what kind of energy that you need to have in the classroom? So the way the teacher enters the classroom, the way they walk through, what is their body language, how they look into, how the eyeballs are moving, what angle their faces are in, they are looking at the children, where they stand in the classroom, how they handle their textbooks or that, how they use their palms, fingers, and bodies to explain. Even when they sit, they are not expected to sit in the classroom, but even when they sit, right, how do they sit on the classroom, right? All these things have got very significant impact in the classroom. How do you even handle a chalk? How do you write on the blackboard? What distance you keep from the blackboard? I'm sorry, today we don't have blackboards. We have technology there, right? For example, where does a teacher stand? This corner, that corner, or is the teacher moving in the classroom? There's so much is there. One can learn about body language at least for 2-3 days. You can do a training program for them. But the question basically is that they need to understand, and what happens is when a teacher moves from one class to the other, the mind is always working on what next, and therefore the focus is on completing the curriculum, right? And therefore in that process, the speed of the mind, negates all the other things to be done. But I have personally known that both the positive impact of the body language as well as the negative impact of the language. For example, when you go to a primary class, a KG class, when you touch a child, how he feels. When you go to a class 5 and touch a child, how he feels. When you touch the same child in class 12, how he reacts to it, all that matters, it's not a mere touch. So, there are emotional communications that happen around, even in your look, you convey. So, there is so much in body language.
All right. Let's move on to the last question for this episode, sir. We do realize that teachers will need some amount of training on body language, but if you can give, say, 3 fundamentals for teachers who are watching this episode here today on body language in the context of a classroom, when they're talking to the students in the classroom, 3 fundamentals, what would they be?
Number 1, I think a good teacher ensures that the energy level of their interaction in the classroom for all the entire 40 minutes is the same. What happens is normally first 10 minutes they are very interactive, then it's a bit slow. I don't blame them, but it's because of the mindset. So once they are trained that the mind that you have got to be engaged for 40 minutes, I think they will do a good job. I know many teachers who do that. So one is that they need to have the energy level in the classroom. Second is, please note that how you present yourself in the classroom, right? It's something like this when you go to a movie, we want a hero or a heroine to look good and then present. And to me, for all the children, a teacher is a hero or a heroine in the classroom. So you've got to be, looking good, you've got to be looking, presentable, and then you have to be gravitating, right? So along with the words that you do, if you are not well dressed up, if you are not very, smart, the children tend to take you easy. That's the second thing, basic thing as you asked me. The third is, how do you use your hands, palms and face and other things. Sometimes when child asks a question, you just show some kind of a negative facing in the field, and you say, you sit down like that. And you remember, it's not just moving the leg, you sit down. Probably the boy may sit down for a whole life and he may not get up again, right? I know. I remember the days when one of my teachers in the graduation asked me to get out of classroom because it was a sleepy time, and I know how it impacted me throughout my mathematics learning. So I think very basically that remember that every person wants to look at a person who is very charming, very gravitating, very interactive, and also from a person who who is adorable and who recognizes them. So your body language should not be something which will condemn them, but should be inclusive. In a classroom, always I say you use both your hands together because you include all the children. When you put your hands like this, probably you are isolating yourself. So much is that. There are plenty of websites and books on that for the teachers to understand about it. On the website they can learn, but I think it's very important.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. I think understanding non-verbal and verbal communication itself, and understanding that both need to be dealt with in separate ways, and both are very different from each other itself, is a big deal. And you have really tried to explain as much as possible in the limited time that we have here today. Thank you so much, sir, for doing that.
Thanks, Rashmi.
Dear teachers, we have tried to include as many topics as possible that are relevant to you in your profession, in your day-to-day life in your profession. If there is anything that you think we should be dealing with, we should be talking about and helping you with some pointers that will really help you move forward in your profession and progress, please do let us know. And like we always say, please come back in the next episode of The Better Teacher. Both Bala sir and I will be there to talk to you on many more relevant topics. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you soon.